Legaltech Show.
Buongiorno e benvenuti alla seconda puntata del nostro podcast su Legaltech. Oggi realizzeremo la nostra prima puntata tematica verticale su Legaltech, in particolare una puntata che riguarda la nostra Europa, in modo da comprendere qual è lo stato dell'arte oggi della tecnologia applicata al mondo legale in tutta Europa. Per affrontare questo tema c'è con me Nicolino Gentile, che anche egli è avvocato, appassionato di tecnologia, insieme a me ambassador per l'Italia dell'ELTA, dello European Legaltech Association. Ciao Nicolino, benvenuto.
Ciao Silvano, grazie. Ciao Silvano, buongiorno a tutti.
Ecco, abbiamo pensato oggi di realizzare questa puntata invitando il nostro amico e collega a livello europeo. Si tratta di Holger Zscheyge, è presidente appena eletto della ELTA, della European Legaltech Association, con il quale cercheremo di spaziare dando uno sguardo su quella che è la nostra intera esperienza europea, avendo l'opportunità di godere di informazioni di prima mano, essendo lui presidente di questa ormai consolidata e importante realtà a livello europeo. La chiacchierata sarà svolta in inglese o prevalentemente in inglese e ci auguriamo che questo possa non rappresentare un grosso problema per i nostri ascoltatori, ma contiamo che non sia così. Holger, ciao e benvenuto, welcome. Nel nostro
welcome everyone.
Dedicato a Legaltech. Holger is a publisher with an extensive experience in starting, in building and managing professional publishing companies, in Russia in particular. I read that he declared to be very proud to have the opportunity to work with the brightest mind and the most dedicated professional in the Russian publishing business. Mm-hmm. He has his own publishing company, which is named Infotropic Media. He developed the Russian subsidiary of one of the world's top professional information providers, Wolters Kluwer. And more recently, he developed a deep interest in the legal tech. Since 2016, if I remember well, he co-organized Moscow Legal Tech, the first specialized conference on legal tech in Russia. I found his meta tags, the personal meta tags, professional publishing, startup management, business development, strategic planning, online publishing, marketing management, legal tech. So we are very proud and very happy to have you here on our podcast, and welcome, Holger.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be with you guys.
Okay. Now I will give the floor to Nicolino Gentile for some questions. So please, Nicolino.
Thank you, Silvano. Hi, Holger. We are very glad and happy to have you here, as Silvano was saying. So, Holger, you have, because of your experience, a good and wide oversight of what legal tech is currently in Europe and in those countries. And so, first of all, I'd like to ask you this. We know that in social networks, in events, in publications, and also, and fortunately, in education courses, legal tech is everywhere. Those events and those social networks are full of legal tech. So we can say that this is good, but I'm asking you why, in your opinion, legal tech is everywhere as now.
Well, I would say the time for legal tech has finally come. So legal tech in itself is not new. If you look at the market, the first solutions entered the market in the 70s of the last century, like LexisNexis or Westlaw in the 70s. So that is plenty of time. So legal tech had plenty of time to get to the market to become adopted. But the hype, well, I would say it's a little bit of a hype around legal tech started some 6 to 7 years ago, probably as a result of the 2008 global financial crisis, when clients of law firms were hurting financially, and they expected law firms to become more efficient, to lower prices, because they were losing money and looking for any ways to cut costs, expenses. So they were going for the legal expenses as well. And when that didn't happen, they started to employ technologies themselves in corporate legal departments. And they shifted legal work in-house, and quite a lot of work in-house. According to American statistics, more than 80% of legal departments shifted legal work in-house, and that trend will probably continue. And as a result, big law firms started to see the necessity to invest in legal tech themselves, otherwise they would lose business. So they opened up their eyes just under the pressure from their major clients. And still, this was a rather slow process until now. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic gave a huge boost to legal tech, because lawyers for the first time realized that without technology, they cannot practice law anymore. So it was working from home. And either you use technology or you're out of business. It wasn't a choice anymore. Before it was a choice. Either you fancy technology and you employ it, and then it's okay. But you could basically work without using technology. But now it's not a choice anymore. People have to use technology if you work from home. If you cannot meet with your client in real life, you have to use Zoom or Teams or whatever communication platform. If you don't have all your matters in the cloud, it's impossible to work. I read stories of lawyers in Germany that had to drive to the office to get binders with matters, because nothing they had was accessible online. So lawyers in this year, they just understood that without technology, there's no practicing law anymore. So that's why probably legal tech is everywhere. It became just a necessity, especially in 2020.
Thank you.
Mi sembra che la traduzione sia comunque abbastanza inutile, perché il concetto fondamentale che Holger ha espresso è che non si può fare a meno ormai della tecnologia. Questo succede in tutti i campi. In quest'ambito non fa differenza, per cui piano piano è arrivato il momento dello sviluppo del legal tech, magari un po' in ritardo rispetto a quello che è successo negli altri ambiti, ma ecco, è un fatto. Questa è la ragione per cui è ovunque. Ecco, scusa Nicolino.
No, assolutamente, anzi grazie. Infatti fa piacere anche a me far evidenziare un po' i 4 concetti di cui parlava Holger, ossia it is not a choice anymore, non è più una scelta, è una questione di efficienza, so in terms of being efficient, è una maniera, avere il legal tech, diciamo, portare avanti soluzioni di legal tech per non perdere denaro, per il law firm, to not lose money, you said, and is a way to be aligned with times, è una maniera per essere allineati con le esigenze di questi tempi. Holger, the second question we would like to ask to you is about the benefits. So, but you partially already answered. Mm-hmm. So, about benefits in adopting legal tech solutions. In your opinion, maybe more in detail, and talking about maybe a few examples, which benefits are there for the legal folks in adopting legal tech technologies?
Absolutely. Well, in general, there are 2 benefits as I see it: is profitability increases and revenue increases. So first, if you're talking about profitability, well, legal tech helps lawyers to become more efficient. That means their margin increases. If you can do more in less time and with less people or with less resources, then your margin increases. And if you look at legal services, legal practice, then the main cost factors in law firms or in legal departments alike, it's people and office space. And if less people are involved in, say, document review, where you had a bunch of junior lawyers sitting in a basement for weeks and months, sifting through documents and writing down in Excel sheet the basic conditions. And now it's a matter of seconds or minutes with legal tech. Then if they work quicker with less people, then the cost goes down and profitability goes up. And if people can work from anywhere, from the countryside, not only from an expensive office in the city, then costs go down as well. So that's just an issue. If you can keep your prices stable, then your margin will increase. So you will become more profitable by using technology, because everything is getting quicker and with less resources. And the second factor or area where legal tech can influence the work of legal professionals is it makes services more affordable, and that opens up totally new markets. Everybody is looking now at the already very large market of legal services globally, almost $1 trillion US dollars annually. It's a huge market. It's larger than auditing services or strategic consulting. And that's one of the reasons why the Big Four are aiming for the legal consulting market. But there's a much larger accessible market, which nobody within the legal services market is looking for, and that is an issue of access to justice. So when more than 80% of the population, even in large civilized wealthy countries, do not use legal services for various reasons, either they cannot afford it or they think just it's too expensive, then this is a huge untapped market. Just an example from Russia, which is not quite a large legal service market, around $2 billion US dollars annually, but some people on the market estimate that there are about 600 million legal problems or legal issues among Russians every year, and only 100 million somehow get addressed. So that leaves us with 500 million legal problems or legal issues per year. And if only people would be able to spend €1 per legal issue, and €1 even in Russia, even a homeless person can afford. So that's not a large amount of money to solve a legal issue on average. So that would add 500 million US dollars to the market immediately, without decreasing the revenues of existing legal companies or legal firms. So that's huge potential. If you go into Europe, that €1 could be 10 euros or 100 euros. People are normally ready and able to spend money on legal service, but if it doesn't make any sense to spend, say, 400 euros on an issue that will probably bring you 200 euros. Take the whole compensation market. If your airline cancels your flight, even before all those platforms like Flightride and so on came to the market, there was the condition that people could request compensation from the airline, but nobody did it, because on average the compensation is 250 euros, and on average people had to spend between 400 and 800 euros on solving that issue. So people are not stupid. They are not going to spend 400 euros on a 250 euro question. So all those platforms which didn't take the risk out of the equation, and people got money if they were without risking any money or putting money up front, and they they started the market, which is now 6 to 7 billion euros every year from scratch, without any law firm losing any business, because this business was just not attractive to traditional law firms. So that is an area where technologies, if you employ technologies to make to automate basic questions, most of those questions are very basic ones. You can automate and put up a chatbot on your website, or look at Do Not Pay in the UK or in the US. They automate more and more such questions, and they make quite a lot of money with that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for this very detailed overview and answer. So we can say that basically, just to summarize, but to recall what you said, that I'd say that first of all, I think that one of the points is that legal services shall not be so with the using of technology too expensive anymore in an unnecessary way. So if it's not necessary to spend a big amount of money to get a simple or repetitive or legal service that you can get through the technology in a more efficient way and in a more cheap way, this is a good thing. This is a good thing for people. So you spoke also about access of justice, and this is a great point about the use of legal tech. So legal tech helps to reach the legal needs of larger amounts of people, and this is, and also another point is that legal tech opens new ways of being legal professionals and opens new jobs. So we can say also that these are other benefits of this completely new legal sector, which is legal tech. How is the legal tech startup movement in Europe, in your opinion? Because we know that legal tech also comes from the ground, not only from the big players.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, the European Legal Technology Association participated in this year's Global Legal Tech Report. That's the first, so to say, benchmarking effort for the legal tech industry. So we got a picture of legal tech all over the world. And in Europe, ELTA participated, basically collected most of the data for over 200 products in the market. And the report has just been published by the organizers of the GLTR. And well, it's stated that Europe has a vibrant legal tech startup scene, and it's not confirmed only to the large legal service market like the UK, Germany, France, or Italy. There are legal tech startups almost everywhere. And if you look at the statistics, 74% of legal tech startup founders come from the legal services industry. So from within the market, it's not like somebody from outside is coming into the legal or legal tech market, disrupting everything. It's people which worked in the legal industry, somehow became interested in technology and switched and started legal tech companies. From the age range, they are between 30 and 40. Most of them are between 30 and 40. So it's not the 20-something startup founder you have maybe in the Silicon Valley. It's more mature, and there are also quite a lot of legal tech startups that have founders with over 50. And what's interesting is, I don't know, I didn't expect a correlation between those two data points, but from those 75% which are coming, founders that are coming from the legal industry, 84% have programming skills. So that's usually not something you associate with lawyers, that they have programming skills. But the report stated that that's the case in Europe, at least. And
also because the other hype is about coding for lawyers. So,
probably you see crop up all those courses, coding for lawyers, and I'm frankly I'm not a big fan of the idea that every lawyer should now immediately start becoming a programmer. It's impossible. Nobody would expect a programming specialist becoming good in civil law or reading the civil code and court practice and so on. It's there should be a specialist for every task, and if it's a legal task, it should be a legal professional. If it's a programming task, it should be an IT specialist. But of course, for lawyers, it might be beneficial if they have a basic understanding of programming, of organizing IT projects, or at least try to understand an IT specialist, because frankly, they live on different planets, lawyers and IT specialists, and a lot of problems that arise during implementing legal technology in law firms or legal departments, they arise of basic lack of understanding between each other. So that might be beneficial, but I don't see that all lawyers suddenly become programmers. So, but for the legal tech scene, it's interesting if those people who have started to learn programming skills, they probably put it to good use. And what a little bit is a little bit discouraging. Only 15% of legal tech startup founders are women in Europe. That's almost the worst data point from all regions. So there's something we should do. Yep.
Thank you. I really agree with you on this point, because but probably the best thing we can do is to push people to meet in the middle, from a legal point of view and from a technical point of view, and realize teams, groups of people working on it. I don't know if you, in your opinion, it's too early to understand if it's profitable to work on this field, considering the investment, the efforts in programming, in development, in developing new software. But do you think it's convenient for IT and programming specialists to be part of this movement, or is just a niche with not so important result in the future?
Well, I would say in the future it's becoming more and more interesting, and you see that from an investment side. Starting 2 years ago, investments in legal tech were going up. Might be a trend that a lot of investors were looking for new niche markets and started to copy each other. But it's a trend which is continuing. So even in 2020, investments didn't slow down. So it probably will be at 1.52 billion again for the third year in a row in 2020, even with COVID and anything that's going on. So that's quite stable. And I guess demand now will increase. I don't know how much money people are ready to invest in legal tech, but there will be demand for legal tech. And if you're an IT specialist, there's less competition probably still in legal tech than in other areas like retail or manufacturing. So that's definitely something to look at. But you have to have a basic understanding of the legal industry, of course. So if you're coming from a totally different industry, it makes might use some time. You might use some time to analyze the market. You have seen the problem with Atrium this year. They went out to revolutionize the legal service industry and the legal tech industry as well. And they failed because, well, one of the reasons I would say they underestimated the legal services market. It doesn't change that quick.
Yeah.
So it means that the disruption, the real revolution should start from maybe methods and technology as instruments, as tools, but has necessary to involve the legal professionals. Also because it is a regulated market in most, I'd say, in all countries. So as you was saying before earlier, maybe the next challenge of the disruption in legal tech should be a completely new player, which is not which has not legal ground, but is basically impossible to solve legal problems without having legal ground. So legal professionals, they have to change themselves and adopt their methods and their work to the next future.
Yeah, sure. You can't change the legal services industry without changing the lawyers or around the lawyers, because it's impossible to replace all lawyers with algorithms. It's a myth. And of course you had, well, I don't know about Italy, but in Russia there have been a lot of discussions about robots replacing lawyers. I don't see that, at least not in this century, because a real legal service is an intellectual service, and there's a lot that algorithms can do already in the legal area. But if you are talking about really deep analysis of legal problems and solving legal problems, that will be for the foreseeable future be the domain of human lawyers. So there's nothing to fear about. There's so much business for both for human lawyers and for algorithms. I don't see that to be a problem in the next 50 years.
It's the same discussion in Italy too.
Okay.
It's completely the same. Is there a particular country in Europe, in your opinion, that is on the top in legal tech?
Well, I would differentiate between supply and demand or adoption, because if you there are countries that have legal tech solutions for decades, but the legal community is rather slow with adoption. So again, the first practice management system in Germany entered the market in 1978. It was Annotext. They still exist, and they are now part of Wolters Kluwer, but they are still offering that system. But if you look at the German market, it's heavily regulated and quite conservative, and not a lot of lawyers are using practice management systems, and they are basically a basic legal technology. But the technology itself is on the market for decades, and but a lot of lawyers still work the old-fashioned ways, unfortunately. Well, if you look at Russia has electronic legal research databases for 30 years now. It was just a necessity, because when you printed new laws like loose leaves with new legislation, it was outdated the moment you received it by mail. So they had to introduce electronic legal research databases. Otherwise, they couldn't keep up with the fast changing legislation. And more than 93% of lawyers in Russia use them. But in other categories, there's less adoption so far. So on the supply side, a lot of markets are quite major. On the demand or adoption side, the markets with less regulation, say like the UK or Sweden, are those with the better adoption rates, I would say, since competition is stronger and legal tech startups can operate more freely. If you're a legal tech startup and you're always afraid that you will enter a territory where you will be accused of unlawful practice of law, or where somebody will sue you for not being able to practice law, or accuse you of practicing law even if you don't do it, then of course that will always hinder the development of legal tech. Nobody will enter that for fear of litigation. And of course, the size of the legal services market itself plays a crucial role. The more money there is in the market itself, the easier it is to invest in legal tech. So if you look at the large markets like the UK or Germany, then it should be easier for legal tech startups to develop in those markets. But still, it's always depending on adoption, on willingness to employ legal tech. And if you compare, say, Germany and the UK, which have comparable market sizes, legal service market sizes, the UK is much more major in adoption than Germany.
Okay, Holger. This was the final question for you. I would like really to thank you for your time and for share with us your experience, your data, and your approach to the legal tech. So thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Holger. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye then.
Ringraziare anche chi ci sta seguendo, chi ci ha seguito. È stata una bella esperienza, e quello che viene fuori è tra l'altro il fatto che gli sviluppatori, chi si occupa di diritto e chi si occupa di software development, conviene che si concentrino su questo argomento, perché sicuramente darà la possibilità di grandi sviluppi e di grandi soddisfazioni. Io vi ringrazio anche Nicolino.
Grazie Silvano.
Alla prossima puntata.
Grazie Holger, grazie a tutti.
Ciao,
grazie,
Holger.
ciao a tutti.